Oh, my wonderful cats. Actually, they are pretty wonderful. I've had three cats. Names were Cruiser and Cosmo for a while. Cruiser died in July of 2007. One second. This one behind me is named, he's a new one. I got Cosmo's, Cruiser's replacement. His name is Magical. And I'll show him in a second. Let's see if I can show him here. Here he is. He's a pretty nice kitty cat. I can show you a video of, look in the camera, big guy. Oh, look at the camera, up there, up here. Oh, they're not very obedient, as you can tell. Anyways, that one's Magical, and I'll show Cosmo in a second. And this one is Cosmo. This is Cosmo, and I have a video clip of, look up in the camera, up here, but oh, you can't see. Anyways, that's Cosmo, and I'll show Cruiser. Hang on a second.
Tiny but inspiring news item nearly lost in today's gloomy headlines. It seems that in the 2006 military spending bill, Congress approved $20 million to pay for a day-long party in Washington. The purpose? A celebration of victory in Afghanistan and Iraq. Regrettably, that money was not spent. And if the cut-and-runners had their way, it never would be. But I'm pleased to say that...
As you can see, Cruiser and Cosmo were quite the pair. It kind of sucked when Cruiser died. I'm not used to things dying around me. So, one second. I thought it would be an easy replacement getting Magical for. It turns out the day that Cruiser died, I found another cat at my parents' that same day. So literally, it was like things were happening in motion, and thus I was supposed to take the new cat. And unfortunately, it has not panned out well with Cosmo. He is in this. When Cruiser died, he wasn't just physically gone. He was spiritually gone too. And Cosmo, he had a hard time adjusting to this. And I mean, really, it's one second. I mean, basically, when Cruiser died that day in July of 2007, basically Cosmo died too. So I thought it'd be a quick replacement with a new cat, but it doesn't work out that simple. I found out. So one second. So I'll jump back to the beginning. I got Cosmo Cruiser about the same time, back in around the summer of, or spring or summer of 1996, I think. One second. Yes, that's correct. And so Cruiser lasted 11 years, and it's been I really liked the guy. I really liked him. He's had an interesting personality. I find that each cat has its own unique individuality. One second. I'll show the video of my two cats together, Cosmo and Cruiser, basically as a glimpse of what their life is, what their fun life has been like. One second. In 2006, Cosmo started, he no longer could handle his hairballs like he used to, and so now he's coughing up crap, and it seemed to be quite regular. And so I started changing up the cat food, and also getting some it's called like some kind of lubricant that you can feed the cat to get his cat hair to come up or properly. One second. So that was going on for like a year, like all of 2006, and then it seemed like there was a problem. I think I actually took him in to the vet to see if he had a problem, and it turned out I believe they were saying something, but like fake cat food. But so I checked cat food, and it was it appeared that this was just his old age kicking in, and he was couldn't handle his hairballs like he used to. So then, but in 2007, in January, early 2007, Cruiser started throwing up too, and this was getting, so I was having literally every other day seemed to be, or every day almost, or every other day was one cat or the other throwing up. And the problem was, is I couldn't figure out who was doing it until one day I heard it just before going to bed. I heard it coming out of the kitchen, and I ran out, and there it was. It was Cruiser throwing up. So now I mean, for a while I thought it was just Cosmo, and then now I know it's Cruiser. So I mean, that makes it very difficult to figure out who's who until you actually see it. So then now I know it's two cats. One second. So enough of so after a few times of getting a glimpse of Cruiser throwing up, and once I witnessed it, I realized it was a very runny barf of his. So I took him into the vet and did a blood scan. That was fine. Didn't do a X-ray, but I guess I should have. But it turned out that if I had done that, I would have realized that I would have found out that he had a lymph node cancer, cancer of the lymph nodes. So it was actually blocking his esophagus, so that's why he was throwing up. And I didn't realize that till literally the day he died. I put him to sleep. I didn't conduct the X-ray test until the very last second when he was really weak. And but let me back up. I was getting tired of this throwing up thing, and I sent him to my parents. My parents took him in for a while, about 2-3 months. He was getting really skinny. He wasn't eating, so he just wasn't eating. And I was just tired. I couldn't handle it anymore. And so my parents luckily took him in, and he liked the outside at my parents' place. And so it was he had spent his last few months in a nice environment, and he was very happy. So that was nice. One second. Anyways, he was losing so much weight that he one day came in to my mom's pretty concerned. I mean, Cruiser was acting unusual, as though something is wrong. So my mom took him to my place and basically spent the last night together. And then I took him to a vet, which we realized that he had this cancer of the lymph nodes, and we put him to sleep. And it was a pretty harsh day. I wasn't used to seeing my good friend die. But it would have been hard. It would have been a hard fight, and I would have had to have literally thousands of dollars in order to fight this, to fight cancer with a cat. Didn't have the money, and I just had to put him to sleep. And it was a very sad day, and I thought it would last for weeks, and the tears lasted only one day, about 24 hours. But you know, it was in my memory for a good week. What helped out is that I had this new cat. The day that Cruiser died, a new cat, Magical, was trapped. One second. Animal control took out some cats that took away the mother and some kittens that my mom had reported that were in her porch. And one of them got left behind, so I kept that one. That was trapped. It was kind of hiding, and we caught him, and he was docile. So that's who Magical is. One second. So Magical is behind me, and one second. So in Magical's just a kitten. He's very young. He's only 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks old. We caught him, and I thought it'd be a great adjustment for a smooth adjustment for Cosmo, the older cat, and it was not. He was hissing. Magical was playing all the time as a kitten, and Cosmo was hissing, and basically that continued for even till today a little bit, but it's getting a little less. It's gotten somewhat less. But one second. About 6 months into 6 months that I've had Magical, one second. 6 months into this is actually around around Christmas time of 2007, and that's when I was fed up with my show, and I'm very frustrated at the legal system, and everybody's bending me over, and that's what the site is for. And I told God, I said, God, I want you to bend back. I want you to bend over the legal system, and I want you to bend them over to teach them a lesson. So I did that, and the way it works with God is he sort of tells me how things are working in unusual ways, and maybe not so unusual, because what happened is on that Christmas day, on the night, well, I found out when I went to sleep that somebody had crapped on my bed. 1 second. And it was perfectly placed right where I sleep, right about where my belly button would be, or maybe my chest. It's right around that area, and it was perfectly placed. And I gotta say, man, I mean, I told God what to do, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but He sort of gives me indication. There's real life indication of how things are happening, and I guess the real life indication is that, you know, I crapped on, or I'm having God crap on somebody, and they're crapping on me via my cat. So I realized that something has happened, and when I saw this crap, this poop on my bed, right where I sleep, I literally was laughing my butt off. I thought it was the funniest thing, and I couldn't believe it. It was just so perfectly timed. I was like, right on Christmas Day, this is occurring. So, the laughter, you know, it's okay. It's funny one time, but it would I would find out later it would occur again and again, and it wouldn't be so funny after that. So, 1 second. Yeah, but it was about, you know, I thought it was the funniest thing the first time, but then it occurred again about 2 days later, and then about 3 days after that, and I started smacking them around. I started actually, what I did is, the second time it occurred, I punished Magical. I thought it was Magical. So that's the problem. When you get two cats, you don't know who's doing what. So I actually punished him, and it was the second time. I think it was the second time that no. It was okay. The second time, and I was like, I smacked Magical. The third time it occurred, which was about 3 days later, so in about a week, it was about 3 times. I smacked. I didn't just smack Magical. I put his nose in it, and I actually rubbed it all over his body. Well, first of all, I got to say, I didn't realize it was there, and I laid in it. So my just above in the middle of the back, or just below the lower back, I laid right in it. So this was great. This was really. And so now I'm pissed off, and now I'm in revenge mode, and so I'm taking Magical, and I'm rubbing his face in. Rubbing his face in the poop that I just freshly squeezed into my mattress. You know, so I've got what a mess. I mean, so I take the poop and I rub it all over Magical's body, and I throw him in the bathroom, and I leave him in there to suffer. And then I have to clean up all my sheets and everything, and I take a shower. It was just a big mess. And, you know, I'm just not happy. Anyways, just to give you the irony of this, it turns out it wasn't Magical. It was Cosmo the whole time. I don't know if that's called irony or what. That's just called, you don't know what the heck's going on. I assume the new cat, my old cats, my previous 2 cats never did this. It turns out that I got a video cam. First of all, I locked the door. I shut the door for a month. And nothing happened, of course, because the door's locked. So after a month of nothing happening, I opened the door up, and nothing was happening for a little while, a week or 2, and then it happened again. So I put the video recorder on there, like my webcam, to record what was going on, and I finally caught what was going on. It was Cosmo. My cat of 11, 12 years now is now doing this. 11 and a half years. He's the one that's doing this. So I smack him. And he does it. And it happened again. I smacked him again. This time I smacked him hard enough that he didn't do it for literally months. Yeah, months. 1 second. And then I realized that it's not it's a territory thing. It's the new cat is invading, and it's a territory thing. When the new cat sleeps on my bed, it somehow violates Cosmo's territory, and so for some reason Cosmo needs to crap on where I sleep for some reason to let me know that he's unhappy with me for letting him sleep on my bed or something. Some unusual bullcrap that I just wish I could read minds of kitties and other animals to understand what exactly he's thinking. But it's like he's crapping on me, and maybe he is, but but it seems to be a territory issue. Like he's unhappy about his playmate, his new playmate. So this is not good. I got the new cat to make him happy, and it turns out Cosmo is not happy. So it has backfired. It's not a good situation. 1 second. So anyways, it would be like months since he crapped on me. It'd be like 5 months, and then 5 or 6 months, and then in 2008 he crapped on my bed again. I smacked him, and he wouldn't do it again for some time. And 1 second. Not quite sure, but I believe it would be another 2 or 3 months, and then he would. So he would be scared of me. He'd be scared to go into the bedroom, but for some reason he's scared to go into my bedroom, but he'll sneak in there to take a crap on my bed, and it's really it seems like a really awful thing for him to be doing. And so, but the deterrent is that he knows that I'll smack him around, and so that keeps him away from doing it more often. So I guess it's been two times in 2008. I think it's only been 2 or 3 times. And but part of the problem has been that Cosmo has been in health problems. He wasn't eating his cat food, and I didn't see it really happening, but he was losing a lot of weight, and I didn't realize that we just needed new cat food. That was it. That was the problem. I thought he was probably close to death. So I got him, started feeding him properly now, and he's getting health back, and he's not crapping on my bed because he's too sick, he's too weak to do anything. Well, I would think he would just be a nice cat and not do it, but he just gained his health back over the last November, December, and he just crapped on my bed on today, 1 January, or I came in today and there it was. So that was his New Year's resolution, is to crap on my bed. So maybe this is an indication that people are trying to crap on me in the real world too. This is usually how it works. Is whenever he craps on my bed, there's usually some indication that people are trying to crap on me in real life too. Yeah, that's a nice New Year's Eve present is nice poop on where I sleep. I didn't get anything this 2008. I didn't get anything Christmas 2008. But 1 second. So that's appears to be about the remnants of my cat bending me over and crapping on me and pooping on me. And again, if you ever have 2 cats, be careful of who to blame when something goes wrong, because it can. I had an 11-year-old cat which never did this before, and all of a sudden it started doing it. So just because you bring in a new cat does not mean that it's the one that's causing problems. It's indirectly causing. It's indirectly Cosmo was the one doing the damage, and is the problem child. And I guess my lesson I've learned is that if you have 2 cats and they grow up 10 years or 11 years together, one dies, just keep one by itself. Don't worry about getting him another friend. In hindsight, I would have been better off just keeping Cosmo for myself. But I thought it would be best to get a second cat, and also God brought in a second cat, like I say, through a coincidence, the same day. But yeah, when two cats are together for 11 years, when one dies, essentially the other one is dead too. But I really like Cosmo. I think he really loves me too. And he missed Cosmo. He's meowing for months, wondering where he's at. And but he really likes me, and I think as long as I can keep him alive, I think we're gonna make a good matchup. But he's not. He hisses a little bit at the new cat, Magical. But it's all right. So everything's okay. There's only like 1/10 the playness that Cosmo and Cruiser were doing. That's just because they're not as good of friends, you know. And again, in hindsight, I would have just kept one cat. And if God didn't bring in the second one, Magical, when He did, I would have. So it was just I needed to have two cats to experience this, evidently, and find out, you know, what Cosmo's like, and have him crapping on my bed. So, 1 second. At least I know now that Cosmo is completely healthy now, and ready to go back to his old ways of crapping on me. So it's good. It's a good sign that he's healthy again. Yeah. So that's my story of how my cats bent me over. But they're nice kitties though. They don't really mean harm, and they just give an indication of what's going on in perhaps the unreal, maybe real life. That's all. Bye. Maybe more later.